South Africa is standing at a crossroads. The United States just issued a clear warning. Play by our rules or lose access to one of Africa's most critical trade deals, AGOA. But is AGOA truly a lifeline or a trap? As Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and Rwanda forge a new path of independence, South Africa may be next. In this video, we break down the real meaning behind AGOA, why South Africa is being targeted, and what a united Africa might look like, free from Western economic control. The African Growth and Opportunity Act, better known as AGOA, was introduced in 2000 by the United States as a trade policy offering African countries duty-free access to U.S. markets. Sounds like a great opportunity, right? But AGOA isn't just about trade, it's about influence. In order to qualify, African nations must meet certain conditions, including alignment with U.S. foreign policy goals. Any sign of deviation, and those benefits can be revoked instantly. Over the years, countries like Ethiopia, Mali, and Guinea have been suspended from AGOA, not due to trade violations, but for political choices that didn't align with Washington's preferences. It's not just economics, it's leverage. Now, the U.S. has set its sights on South Africa, one of the continent's largest economies. A new bill introduced in the U.S. Senate proposes to remove South Africa from AGOA. Why? Because South Africa maintains strong diplomatic and economic ties with China and Russia. South Africa is part of BRICS, a global coalition challenging U.S. economic dominance. It has refused to take sides in the Russia-Ukraine war, hosted naval drills with Russian and Chinese forces, and continued diplomatic relations despite pressure from the West. For Washington, that's a red flag. The message is clear. If you won't side with us, we'll take away your access. But is that fair, or is it coercion disguised as diplomacy? AGOA has often been praised for boosting exports and creating jobs in Africa, especially in textiles, agriculture, and manufacturing. But the benefits come with strings attached. African nations under AGOA are often restricted in their ability to negotiate their own trade terms, build local industries, or diversify global partnerships. Dependency on U.S. markets limits sovereignty and can cripple economies if benefits are suddenly withdrawn. In reality, AGOA creates a one-way dependency, not mutual growth. It builds pipelines that flow raw African resources out and keeps high-value industries in the West. It's the same neo-colonial model, just rebranded for the 21st century. While South Africa faces pressure from the West, a new alliance is taking shape in Africa. Countries like Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and Rwanda are rejecting traditional Western influence in favor of self-determination, local industry, and stronger ties with one another. In the Sahel region, military-led governments have kicked out French troops, cut ties with colonial currencies, and pushed for regional integration. They're calling for African solutions to African problems. Rwanda, meanwhile, is investing heavily in technology, manufacturing, and Pan-African cooperation, positioning itself as a model of modern African self-reliance. If South Africa joins this resistance, whether formally or ideologically, it could mark a turning point in the continent's future, a future where Africa decides its path without foreign ultimatums. Imagine an Africa where countries trade freely among themselves, process their own raw materials, and negotiate with global powers as one unified bloc. That's not a dream, it's a real possibility. The African Continental Free Trade Area, AfCFTA, is already laying the foundation for intra-African trade and economic independence. Pan-Africanism, once seen as a distant ideology, is becoming a practical necessity. But that vision depends on hard choices, like walking away from conditional aid and recognizing traps disguised as trade deals. South Africa has a decision to make. Accept the pressure from the U.S. and stay inside AGOA's golden cage, or step forward and join the rising Pan-African resistance, demanding true freedom. What do you think? Should South Africa stay in AGOA, or is it time for Africa to unite on its own terms? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe to Make Africa Great for more untold stories and bold commentary on Africa's future.
Yes, here we are. Greetings and welcome all of you, my dear lovely family, brothers and sisters. My voice is coming from the land of our ancestors here in the beautiful continent of Africa. So, as we heard, there are the possibilities of United States of America to remove South Africa from Agoa. The U.S. Senate has proposed that the Agoa must be extended for 2 years, but excluding South Africa. I've been saying this many times that we Africans, when America introduced something called Agoa, that is just a market for America, where Africans can sell their products into the market of America. Many of us, we thought this is an opportunity for we Africans maybe to earn more dollar or to earn more money for selling our products to the United States of America. But we didn't understand that that was a trap. That was a trap to make sure that Africans are looking US as a big market instead of Africa looking within the continent of Africa. So Africans have been given this idea that you can trade with America, you can for free tariff, and this is just a trap. And now you see that these countries that are moving out of US desire are being punished, are being removed from Agoa and unexpectedly. And these countries have already created the market in the US, and that market is going to come to an end. So they need to seek another market. That is so difficult. So, brothers and sisters, I'm saying this because a few months ago, I came with the idea of Sahelization of Africa. If you remember that idea, Sahelization of Africa is an episodes or sessions that was talking about things that looks good on our faces, but behind of those things there is hidden agenda. The same to Agoa. Agoa is so nice, so good for the people of Africa, for the continent of Africa to trade with the United States of America with zero tariffs. But behind Agoa, there's a trap of making Africans believing that the only market or best market is in US. Instead of Africans thinking that we can strengthening our own market, we can trade among ourselves, Africans thought to trade with America than their other fellow Africans. And that's where we entered into the trap. And after that, after entering the trap, right now you see America is punishing one by one. America started by punishing Rwanda. When Rwanda rejected to receive second-hand clothes, then America punished countries such as Burkina Faso. After Burkina Faso said, we are no longer going to export our raw gold, Niger, Mali, of course even Sudan. And today we are talking about the removal of South Africa, expectation of the removal of South Africa from Agoa. And what we need to do, brothers and sisters, yes, we can say we can trade with China, we can trade with Russia, we can trade maybe with India. Brothers and sisters, these are traps. Let us strengthen our own market within the continent. Africa Continental Free Trade Area is enough market for Africans to trade among ourselves. People may say Africans have no purchasing power. No, we have purchasing power. The problem that we have, we don't trust ourselves, we don't believe. And we have been told that for you to earn more money, to earn profit, you need to trade with US, or you need to trade with China, we need to trade with Russia or India or European Union. But brothers and sisters, if we can start trading ourselves, I've given example. If you look Africa, we are more than 1.4 billion people. Look for instance in the textile industry. Every African need to have a single shirt. Let us assume whether you are women or men, let us assume everyone need a single shirt that maybe cost $1. How much we need? How much are we going to earn for 1.4 billion people? Maybe for one year, For only clothes, we have to spend 1.4 billion US dollar for only shirt to each African. How much are we going to make? You can see huge amount of money. So that is in clothing or textile industry. Move to the agricultural industry. All of us, we know that every day we need to consume, we need to eat. How much do we need to invest in order for us as the people of Africa to make sure that we can feed ourselves? Look, right now, Africa, we are importing the things that we can produce ourselves. You know, I'm speaking from this beautiful area. You see, I'm keeping these baby cows. Just imagine, till today, Africans, we are importing milk, not fresh milk, this powder milk. We are importing milk. But look the area where I'm standing from. You see these grasses. So this is the area that is so potential for feeding cattle, for feeding animals. So why don't we Africans decide to invest? You remember, brothers and sisters, when I started this project, I shared with you my project. I remember I started from the beginning till when I started the cultivation and covering grasses, planting grasses, and also planting banana trees. You remember I shared to you. So today you look, it's almost 6 months ago. So sometimes we no, brothers and sisters, it's not about capital, it's about ideas. The first capital that we need to have is ideas. Africa will lack ideas, and we lack ideas because we have been told that you Africans, you cannot invest in your natural resources. You Africans, you don't have capacity. You Africans, you don't have technologies. So those are things that are hindering and making Africans not to invest in our natural resources or in our resources. I'm giving example. I'm keeping these baby cows. I'm sure after 1 year, each of have almost 4 of them are female. I mean in sex, female. So I'm sure within 1 year, those 4 will have maybe pregnant. Will have pregnant to one after 1 year. So it means in 2 years I'm going to have 8 cows. You can see after 5, 10, how much I'm going to gain. Let us assume right now in my area, the cattle, a single cattle, it costs almost more than $500 US. So assume maybe after 10 years, you know, sometimes when I say 10 years, people think it is too far. No, 10 years not too far. But even assume for 2 years, I'm going to have 8. So at the same time, I'm getting manure, I'm getting milk, and also have these assets. You see, so Africans, I'm saying this or I'm sharing this for you to see that we Africans, we can create our own things, we can produce our own, and we can create also our markets. We don't need to depend on others. Those who are giving us free room, free tariff, free something like that, those free issues, those are just the traps, brothers. After entering into that trap, you see what is coming next. Punishment, removal without expectation, and sometimes imbalancing. So, brothers and sisters, I'm sharing this for you to understand and to know that, yes, South Africa is going to be removed from Agoa, but that is not only the solution for South Africa. Oh, that is not maybe bad thing. It is bad, of course, because those who expected to sell their products to US, maybe they have no market. But if we can strengthen our own market and allow Africans to do things, we can make things on the ground here in the continent of Africa. So, dear lovely family, brothers and sisters, as long as we don't come together, we don't see that we can trade among ourselves, we don't strengthen Africa Continental Free Trade Area, we are going nowhere. We can produce, and no one can know that we have products. And I wish, you know, this week we had Africa Union, European Union Summit. I know Europeans seek access to our natural resources, but what we Africans we seek. And the problem that I see, we Africans, we give our all natural resources to others. I think there's a need for African Union, if it's true, a continental body, to do scouting, to understand which minerals do we have and which minerals or which portion we need to share with the rest of the world. The rest we need to keep for the future generation. Right now, when we discover minerals, we give to other people. When we discover oil, we call others, we call them investors. When we discover gold, people are coming and investing. So in the near future, brothers and sisters, 50 years to 100 years to come, we are going to have nothing. Our grandchildren will suffer, and at that time, Africa will be colonized again. So I'm sharing this as a warning that we Africans, yes, we need to share with others. We need to trade among with us, other civilization. Also, we need to attract investors. Let us do scouting, discover which minerals or which portion of our minerals we need to give to investors and which one we need to keep for the coming generation. Right now, I see African politicians are looking much forward on money. They are more interesting on money. When they hear that some Chinese investors are coming with a lot of capital, oh, brothers and sisters, you see people being excited. They forget everything. They forget that in the near future, our coming generation will demand also to have a share. And you see right now we have these things called Gen Z. Gen Z is a uprising of young people demanding accountability, demanding share. If we are not careful, brothers and sisters, 10 years to 15 years, this African continent will be ungovernable. These young people, this Gen Z, will be a threat to those who are in power, or those who will be in power. Why? Because they want accountability. They want a share. You know, it doesn't make sense that people are saying Africa is the richest continent, and yet the lives of many Africans are almost bad and living in heavy poverty. It doesn't make sense. Africans want the story that we are rich, but Africans also are rich. It doesn't make sense in our generation that to say that Africa is rich and we Africans were still living into poverty. In many African places, people are still living in the area where there's no electricity. It is difficult to get good health services. It is difficult to have good road, but we have resources. We have resources. So I think we need to utilize resources properly. So, brothers and sisters, let us not speak for too long. The aim was to share what is happening between America and South Africa. And of course, it's not about South Africa, it's about America and Africa, because what is happening in South Africa happened in Rwanda, happened in Burkina, happened in Mali and in Niger. So this is about Africa and US. So lovely family, brothers and sisters, if you have something to share with us, please do so through the comment section. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being with me. I'm here to share good news, good things from our motherland, the land of our ancestors, African continent. Thank you. Have a nice time.
Thank you, Africa. Mama Africa. Oh, yeah. You make African great. Thank you, freedom. Thank you, Africa.